Okay, if you are still in here and aren't sure if you could put it in the chat, I can try to assign you to a room. Hopefully I got everyone in the right rooms that put it in the chat. Give you just a couple more minutes. Okay, well, I'm going to go hop into my room. So I will see you all back here in a few minutes. Hi, Elisa, welcome.
Hi.
So I'm gonna, I think it's just the two of us. So
Okay.
Please feel free to stop me at any point while we are going, because we can just do this as a conversation.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So Texas Children in Nature, our mission is to ensure equitable access and connection to nature for all children in Texas. And so we envision a Texas that children and their families from all walks of life will spend more time outdoors, engaging with nature, and be healthier, happier, and smarter. And then, so even before this year, equity was a big part of what we did. It's part of our mission. But especially since COVID, we really started thinking about, we're really seeing, really more than anything else, the disparity in terms of how students or children can spend time outdoors according to where they live. Zip code is a big determinant of students being outdoors. And so we really started thinking about this and have come up with a strategy, which is some nature storytelling. And so can I help you get to where we are? So a 2018 study of the outdoors showed that 78% of white students say they have regular experience outside, 10% of Hispanic, 9% Black, and 6% Asian. And so you can really see that there's a big disparity. And so we really wanted to see, we started discussions about, okay, so why is this? What's going on? And so one big part that we realized and was always something we knew about, but really started to focus in on, was just access to nature. That there are, especially in urban areas, there are parts of town that just don't have easy access to parks, easy access to nature, because there either wasn't anything built in the neighborhood, or anything that is close is only accessible through car and not through public transportation. And so really started looking at all of those things. On top of that, only 5% of Texas land is publicly owned, and that includes all national park land, state park land, and local park land. So this is actually—
That is crazy.
Yeah,
it's only 5%, sorry.
Yeah, it's one of the smallest percentages in the country. And what's crazy is actually Big Bend, which we looked at a little bit earlier, is one of the biggest national parks in the country. And so you would think, oh, we must be a high percentage, and it's not. It's very small. And so on top of that, as cities in Texas were built, neighborhoods with higher population percentages of people of color received less parkland. And that's a lot of the redlining that happened has to do with that. And so in Austin, I'm based out of Austin, we have our Healthy Parks Plan. And what we have done is started to overlay a couple of maps together. The first being a zip code map. So just laying where all the what all the zip codes across Austin are. And then we put on top of that a park map. So just so we could see where all the parks were. On top of that, we overlaid a income map. So what the average household income was. And then on top of that, we also then laid a public health map. So seeing what are the public health issues that are more common in each neighborhood. And what we found was that zip codes that didn't have didn't have easy park access had much higher instances of diabetes, obesity, heart disease. And then we were also finding that those same zip codes also had a lower household income. And so then when we laid on top of that another GIS map showing ethnicity, we really started to see a pretty clear picture of inaccess to nature. So why is this? You know, a lot of it comes down to, especially in the South, systematic racism coming into play as cities were built. Areas that were predominantly Black, predominantly Hispanic, weren't given parkland from the city as it was being built. And going back to that 5% number, there is very little land still available. So we started to think like, okay, so what can we do? And so that comes into the systems change. So really thinking about what are the policies, what are the practices, what are the mental hangups to making sure that there's more access. And then we also started to work with community organizations who are already working on the problem, instead of coming in and saying, this is our solution. So we have 3 main projects that we're working with. One is Green Schoolyards, which is the other presentation that you were interested in. And so that is working to create nature spaces in neighborhoods without parks through the use of school campuses. A third is the Cities Connecting Children to Nature project. We have 3 cities in Texas that we're specifically working with. Those are Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. And it looks like Fort Worth is going to be added to that list in the coming year. And so we are working with the mayor's offices in those cities, specifically to bring nature into every infrastructure project that the city is doing, and thinking about from a whole city perspective, how can we bring nature into more kids' lives? And the last one is what we're going to talk about today. It's our TCiN Stories project, which is collecting stories from communities across Texas and how they're connecting with nature. And this really came about in March. So in March, when all of a sudden the world shut down, we had a meeting with our steering committee and really started talking about, okay, what does this mean for us? I think every organization was probably having that same conversation. And we'd already started working on this equity project, and really we're seeing, it looked like parks were all of a sudden exploding with people going to them. But who was going to the parks? Who had easy access? We know that there were communities that didn't have access to parks even before, and now that there wasn't public transportation running, things were a lot more locked down. What did that mean? And so we decided we wanted to start collecting the stories of communities and how they were connecting with nature or not connecting with nature. We wanted to get both sides. So that as we're starting to do this systems change and we're talking to lawmakers, we're talking to community leaders, we've got these stories from communities on how they're connecting with nature. So why stories in the classroom? So one is it raises enthusiasm for reading. Kids who love storytelling will begin to read earlier. It initiates writing. So having a story to tell helps encourage students to start writing. It's something that's enjoyed by all ages. It's not something that's just for elementary. It can be for early elementary, even if they're not writing yet. You know, kids like to tell each other stories. And then it also really works well for high school students as well. And it enhances the community in your class. So being able to tell each other stories is really high as part of your social and emotional learning. It helps students learn compassion for each other. It helps students to connect with each other. And in your class, as you're talking about equity of students in your class, it really helps kind of drive that home, because there's now a personal story that your students know. If you have any English language learners in your class, it helps students become more comfortable in English. And lastly, for our high school students, it helps them learn new research skills. Anyone who works within social sciences, storytelling is a big part of what they do to collect the stories of people. And so this helps kind of those students learn that. And Lisa, do you teach early childhood?
So I teach at the university
Okay.
who are going to work within the field of child and family studies, or even teacher or people who are going to be educators in a public school setting or private school setting. But my research actually focuses on more action research, where I'm actually in programs doing different things with childcare programs, early learning programs. And so that's why I came to this, and that's why I was interested in this, because actually through Texas Department of Agriculture, I think it's called, we got a grant, and I'm actually helping a program institute a grant where they're outside and they're growing food, and they're learning about recycling and healthy eating and all of that. So this all kind of ties together, not only for what I'll teach my students who will go out into placements for the class or for their future, but also when I'm helping other programs.
Yeah, and as I'm just thinking about that grant, where you're putting in those gardens and those nature spaces on campuses, those students, having them come back in and tell the story of their time that they were outside doing things will help solidify those experiences. So
Exactly.
yeah. And so I think it's a really great tie-in there. And even with early childhood, even if it's just recording on a phone the story instead of having them write it down, it'll really mean something for those students.
Okay.
And even going back to the nature journaling that we just did at the beginning, if they're even just drawing what their story is.
Yeah, that's something I was going to talk with the director of the one program I'm working with right now, because there's a grant that's helping us do this stuff in this one program, but this is something I want to continue doing. And so I, at other programs that might not have the grant, but helping them see how they can use what they have and, make small changes to make big changes in the long run for the children. That nature journaling, I was making a bunch of notes on that, and just how I can bring it down to the younger ages where they maybe can't write some of those words. But again, I didn't even think about having I forgot what she called it, but I was just thinking if they have the thermometer, they can, draw, and there's just so many things they can do. So it just really had my mind going.
Yeah, like what Larry Jo did with the partly cloudy, having them draw a cloud in the sun.
The cloud in the sun, yeah. And she was talking about having, I wrote it down. I like the idea of the wind direction, which side it came from. I was like, they can just draw that on their side of their paper. Something so simple. But there was something, the cookie cutter. I thought that was a good idea too. The rulers. I mean, there's just so many things when they're doing these activities that they're using all these other skills, but it's getting them outside and it's encouraging them to do a little bit more than just letting the kids run around on the playground. The learning out. I mean, they do need that unstructured time of just running and getting that physical energy out, that gross motor energy, and that's fine. But just also ways that they can maybe go outside for a short time and let's bring our math lesson outside or our science lesson, and let's just explore and kind of thing. So yeah. This was very interesting. That's why I was kind of stuck on which section I wanted to go to.
I totally understand. And as I said, my goal is to get every session up individually on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And so you can go back and watch the other sessions.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So in going back to with that, I know for early elementary, social and emotional learning is a big part of what they do every day, where they're just learning that compassion for their other students. And this storytelling really ties in really well with that. Getting them to sit outdoors and do an observation with a nature journal, and then maybe come in and pair up and tell that story to someone else in their class about that experience.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So there's a few TCiN. These are just a couple of the really general ones. There's lots of various grade specific ones that it ties into, but within social studies, a big TCiN is the student communicates in oral, visual, and written forms. And then English language skills, develop social communication, such as introducing himself, herself, and others, relating experiences to a classroom and expressing needs. All of that comes out with doing storytelling. So that brings us to telling your nature story. So everyone has a nature story. It can be something as simple as, you know, I heard a bird today, or, you know, the story we had as we were sharing our journals with the lady that talked about seeing 2 cardinals instead of 1 cardinal. It doesn't have to be a big story. It can be a little story. Everyone's got a nature story. And so we are collecting those stories through the StoryCorps app. And so we would love teachers to record their stories, record the stories of their students. But even if you're not recording, doing the story together as a group, and really talking together. The way we are doing it is through an interview format. And so we've got 6 basic stories, and I'm going to send, on Monday, you guys are going to get an email from me that's got all kinds of resources, and I'll put our cheat sheet in with our resources. But basically it's, you know, where are you, and what's a nature story? So it's pretty easy, but using that interview format really helps kids form their story. Although you'll also have kids that are super comfortable with storytelling. So you'll have, you know, both ends of the spectrum. But everyone's got a story. And so we are collecting our stories there, and then you can always get them on our website as well. We're putting them up on our website so that you can hear other stories as well. And sometimes even just listening to other people's stories in your class can be really powerful as well, to hear about, you know, what are kids in Houston experiencing? What are kids in El Paso experiencing? And learning, kids learning about other parts of Texas through the stories of other kids.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
To hear all of that.
Mm-hmm. We've got a really fun one that's highlighted right now on our website, and I'm actually going to be changing it out soon, but it'll still be up. It just won't be the highlight. But it's a mom interviewing her kindergartner. And he is talking about how he calls himself Science Guy. That's his own nickname for himself.
That's awesome.
So as I said, so we are collecting stories, and so it's a pretty easy process. And so what we've got is on our website, and actually I should be able to just go to our website. Will it let me go? Yep. Okay. So on our website here, you can hear all the stories from different parts of the state. This is Brady, the science kid. And then here you can get a PDF of how to record your own story. So we have our questions, and you can change these questions as much as you want. And what I'll be sending out, this is our one that's general on our website. What I'll be sending on Monday is one that's very tailored to kids for you to use. But it's, what's your name? Where do you live? And tell a story of how you have experienced nature. And just get kids to tell the story. You will get everything. You'll probably get stories about roly-polies, because every 4 to 6-year-old that I have met loves a roly-poly. You'll probably get stories about, you know, just different things that they've seen, and little things that they've seen, because nature is right outside our doors. It doesn't need to be going to a big, beautiful park. That's wonderful, but it can also be the butterfly that they saw as they were walking into the building today. And then for our interview, using our StoryCorps app, there's some directions there as well. But really, we just want teachers to start recording stories with their students. And then our goal also is to use those same, allow the schools to use those same stories as well. so that as they're talking to parents in their community, as they're talking to their administrators, they've got those stories in their back pocket as well.
Can you type this link here in the chat box so I can copy it? I was trying to copy it.
Of course, yeah.
I didn't know if you could just copy it from your presentation. I didn't know how you had it up.
Yeah, I can just do that. There we go. So, you know, we've got time since it's just the two of us. If you want to talk about kind of what you guys are planning, I can maybe help you kind of brainstorm some of this stuff.
Oh, sorry, I had clicked off because I was trying to put the website in so I didn't lose it. I did have, just real quick before I forget, when I came to the web page here, or actually, no, this isn't. Yeah, this is the web page I'd asked for. It was talking about joining, I think it was on your previous slide. Yes, here, join a regional club near you. How do I go about doing that? I didn't see how to do that.
So where are you located?
Okay, so I live in one area and I work in another, but I'm not too far from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If they're big regions, that's probably would be.
Yeah, so we've got our North Texas region. And so that is the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I'll put this also in the email that I send out on Monday, but I will go ahead and I'll make a note to let Haley, who is our regional leader in North Texas, know that you are interested.
Okay, perfect.
And so to do that, we have North Texas has a meeting every other month. And they are in the evening, well, they're at 4:30. So we scheduled them so that teachers can participate, that it's not during the school day. But so it's about an hour-long meeting every other month. And at those meetings, we usually give updates on different things, for instance, the Stories Project, giving updates on that. But it's also a great time for people all of our partners that are in the region, to learn what each other are doing. And then great partnerships are formed through that.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, because the original grant that I told you that we got that last year, and because of COVID and everything else, there's some changes in how it's being implemented. But it's something that I've been very interested just in general, the importance of kids being outside and outside, and that we can take not always having structured lessons outside, but just being out there just in general. And so I was really excited about getting that grant, and then COVID happened, and that kind of shut some things down with, access to programs, access to helping programs just come up with new ideas. Because, I feel like the early learning programs in general, they want to do a lot, but sometimes they don't have the resources to do it. And so being able to do that as part of my research, but also having my students, they have service projects they complete, and having to be able to help and do that through service projects. It's like, hey, I might have 30 students who are looking for, a project on such and such. So let's find programs that we can help. And they can choose the programs they want, but sometimes they don't know what they want to do. And so I can offer suggestions. And so this just tied all into it. And so that's why when I was like, oh, join a region, I was like, oh, that could just maybe even give me more access to see how I can help more, how I can help my students, how I can help the programs in my area, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So our North Texas Regional Collaborative has about 100 partners.
Okay.
And so, I think that there'd be some great opportunities there for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My own kids had awesome, they just had really amazing outdoor environments. Well, for back then, my youngest is 14 and my oldest is 19. Wow, she's 19 now. And so back, when I say back then, 17, 16 years ago, what we viewed for outdoors. One of the things, we had a playground that was redone at the program where she went, and it's very similar still to how people are trying to have very nature-based programs, where nothing against the climbing, the playgrounds and everything, but, just thinking about not having everything flat, having little hills here, and, having places where they can go read, and having places where they can have a little flower garden, just little things like that. That was kind of new back then, at least where we were. And so to see those changes still happening, unfortunately, I think they're happening kind of slow, but I'm glad they're still happening. And the fact that people are trying to get outside more, especially now. One of my favorite sayings, and I know I'm going to mess it up, where it's something like, make sure you go outside, you get water, you get sunlight. You're basically a house plant with emotions.
Yeah.
And so I know I messed that up. It's that meaning is still there. We need water, we need sunlight, we need to be out in nature. So yeah, I'm excited about this, learning just more all about this whole program.
Well, yeah, and thank you for joining us in our workshop today. I'm excited that you were able to find us and get signed up.
It was, for me, it was kind of a fluke, actually. The director that I am helping right now, and I sent this information to her, but I think I don't know if she was able to sign up for this one. She might be coming to the January one instead, because I think there was one in January, or was that in January?
Yeah, we've got one in January.
Okay, yeah, she might end up coming to that one. I don't think she came to this one. But this was on the TCiN newsletter that came out, and things have been so busy at work, I didn't get to read it. And so I went yesterday and was reading through the newsletter, and I saw this and I was like, I wonder if I can still sign up. It's tomorrow. And so I was very happy that I was able to still sign up.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm glad that you were able to. But yeah, definitely, I would totally recommend joining a region. I would also recommend, if you have time, and this is kind of a step 2 after joining a region, is our strategic area calls. And so we have 7 strategic areas of interest. And so they are education, health, access, equity, community, marketing, and leadership. And so each of those calls has a call once a month. Each of those areas has a call once a month. And so people from all over the state that are, for instance, interested in education and how we can use in and out of school time to help get students outdoors more would join the education call. And so it's a great way, not just to learn who's in your region, but also people across the state who are really interested in that same thing that you are.
Okay, so the information, so I would join a region first, and then can I be part of the strategic calls, or that's something I would?
You can, yeah, you can be part of both.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So I call our join a region as kind of your entry level.
Sure.
Like, I'm going to dip my toe in the water, see if this is an organization I want to get involved in, and then the next step would be the strategic area calls.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely, this is there's 2 main focus. Well, they're all linked to social interaction, but 2 main focuses for me is outside gardening, healthy, that kind of way with nature, and then stories, literacy. And so one thing with TCiN, they also have the child care health consultant, and I that because it links to the whole healthy, and I could link it to, being outside and that physical activity and so forth. And so again, like when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, there's all these things I can link together for, we're expected to do this as part of our job, but it's also something I have a passion for. And so I love the ideas that there are opportunities. And I mean, unfortunately right now we can't have big meetings, but I'm glad it's still able to go on, via our Zoom meetings or whatever these meetings are held, whatever program that's being used. So
yeah, and so with COVID, our North Texas region switched to Zoom, much like all of our other regions, but they're really thinking that they might stick to Zoom even after some restrictions are lifted, because the region is so large.
Yes.
Just trying to drive from Dallas to Fort Worth or Fort Worth to Dallas can be a full day.
Oh yes, no, I completely understand that. Where I live and where I work, where my office is, about an hour and a half, 45 minutes away. So that's why I was like, and it's so funny because I can go to one part of Dallas and it'll take me a certain amount of time, and then another part of Fort Worth, and it can take a whole chunk of your morning. Sometimes driving takes longer than the actual meeting does. So yeah. Okay. I'm really excited.
Well, good, good. Yeah, I'm glad that you're excited about that. I
So
just
you
want
said Monday, this information will be sent out?
Yeah, I'm going to send out the email on Monday. So it'll have everyone's PowerPoint presentations,
Okay.
any resources they want to share, and then also the links to the videos. So it'll probably be late in the day Monday, just based
Sure.
on how long YouTube takes to buffer all the videos to get them uploaded.
Okay.
I have had days where it happens in 10 minutes, and I've had days that I'm like, well, it's been 5 hours.
Yeah, of course.
So it really just depends on how long it takes to upload everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll send out an email to everyone so that you can have this information.
Okay, and so you mean like the PowerPoint you're showing me now, so I don't take pictures of the screen. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it won't just be mine. It'll have everyone's PowerPoint presentations.
Sure.
So you can, if you were wanting to see, Morgan's on Growing Up Wild, she'll have her PowerPoint in there as well. And
Okay.
so it'll be a good resource.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted to share a couple things that I've added in here for you as well. A couple resources that I find were really helpful is storytelling through time and cultures, the importance of storytelling in child development, and the impact of storytelling on young ages. And so those links are all live in my presentation, so you can look at those. And then a couple of green space equity articles as well, if you're interested in reading those as well.
Yeah, those would be great. One thing that I liked when you were talking about, it was a couple slides back, sorry, it just came back to mind. When you were linking it to the TEKS in our course, we also linked to the pre-K early learning guidelines. And so, yeah, here, there's still ones for English language skills. There's still ones for social studies, even for the younger ages. So yeah, it just ties perfect. Like I said, it'll be great for my students who want to work with younger children, and even my students who plan on going into the actual school system, or even those who just plan on working with families in other kinds of programs that's not necessarily a child care or early learning program or even a public school setting. So
right, and the reason I picked these two, there's TEKS all across the ages, but these are two that even if you're teaching in a private school or you're teaching in an early childhood setting, these are things that everyone's kind of working on. Everyone's working on the developed communication skills. Everyone's working on being able to, express your emotions and your needs to people. And so those are things that are kind of universal across the board.
right.
There's also science ones that the nature storytelling ties into. There's even some math ones that it ties into in terms of collecting data, because you're able to collect data from people's stories. But these are two that were pretty universal. And then this is my contact information. So please feel free to email me if you have any questions going forward. So yeah.
I'm writing it all down now.
No problem.
I have to keep muting myself because I don't know if like a squirrel will run by and my dogs will start barking. So
no problem. We've got about 5 more minutes if you have any other questions.
No, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking, processing everything. This is really helping me think about how, because we already have a research study that we're putting in for approval to be able to conduct, along with the implementation of the gardens and the healthy eating and all that within the programs. And this is just really helping me think about how much we're going to be able to gather, how much we're going to be able to learn just from this one program and what they're doing, and then how I can to help other programs continue to do this. I think this is going to be an amazing resource and something I need to make sure that whatever directors I'm working with are aware of the resources you guys have and the information you have. And yeah.
Yeah, and Texas Children in Nature's whole purpose is to be available as a resource. And so please tell them to feel free to contact me.
Okay.
Even if I don't know an answer, I probably know someone who does.
Okay.
And so the email might even be, you know, I don't know, but I'm going to send an introductory email to this person who can answer your question.
Okay. Wonderful.
And so, yeah, I do probably 50% of my day is connecting people.
Okay.
And so, yeah, definitely. Please feel free to tell them to contact us, and we can help get people in contact with other people, or I can answer the question myself.
Right. And so how long has this Texas Children in Nature, how long has this been going on?
Yeah, so our organization is about 10 years old.
Okay.
So we started in 2009 from House Bill Resolution 205. And so that House Bill Resolution 205 basically said, we acknowledge that there is a problem with kids aren't spending enough time outside. There's a public health issue that is coming about in terms of obesity. And so we want Texas Parks and Wildlife and the Texas Education Association to team up and come up with a solution. And so what they came up with is Texas Children in Nature. And so we have been incubated under Texas Parks and Wildlife for 10 years. And then this year we're branching out on our own as our own nonprofit.
Okay, so no longer under Texas Parks and Wildlife, you're on your own.
Yeah, so,
okay.
But we still have a really close relationship. Melissa, who presented this morning, I actually sit next to her at TPWD. I'm still officed out of the headquarters of Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Okay.
Yeah, we work with Texas Parks and Wildlife really closely. They're a fantastic partner because we really, you know, our missions are so easily aligned, and that our mission is to get kids outside.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just always thinking of, okay, I'm just trying to make sure I have a list of all the possible places to get resources and information and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, so we started this series of teacher workshops over the summer. So our next few that we've got coming up, we'll have, and I'll make this announcement to everyone when we all come back together, but we've got one on January 23rd, which is going to be another one similar to this, where it's a bunch of our partners coming together and sharing their resources, but it's going to be all new partners. No one that's presenting today is going to be presenting at that one. And then we've got one in February that is going to be a joint curriculum workshop. And so it's going to be Project Wild, Project Wet, Project Learning Tree, Texas Aquatic Science, and Texas Wildlife Association are all going to be talking about what their curriculums are and how they can help teachers. And then we'll have one in March. We haven't set the final date for that one yet, but it's going to be on playground design and how you can design your outdoor spaces to be nature-friendly spaces for your students.
Is the so I know the January one date is already out. Is the February one? Can you already sign up for that too?
You can already sign up for the February one, yeah. And so as soon as we finalize the date for March, and I'm hoping to finalize that one on Monday so that it can be part of that email that I send out.
Okay. Could I just go to the Texas Children in Nature and see these other two dates?
Yeah, so if you give me just a second, I'll show you where they are.
Because I'll go ahead and sign up for those now.
Yeah.
Are they usually Saturday morning trainings?
So yes, so they are usually Saturday morning trainings. So if you go to our events tab on our website, so we've got monthly webinars. So please feel free to sign up for any of those that you are interested in. And these are weekdays. They're a Wednesday. It's either a Wednesday at 2 or a Wednesday evening. It's the same presentation both times. And then we've got our teacher workshops are up here as well. And then our virtual meetings, well, we've got virtual meetups that are statewide, and then regional collaborative meetings. I'm working on putting those up. So I'm just working on getting final dates from a few people, but those will be up while on here.
Okay, so that one, I see where you are. So that's the North Texas one. So that's the one I would sign up for.
Yeah.
Okay. The 18th, what day of the week is that one?
That is a Thursday.
A Thursday, okay. I can do a Thursday. Okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, definitely feel free. Everything that's up here, the registration is live.
Okay.
And so you can register for everything that's up.
Okay, and all of these are free for the teachers?
Yeah, so we're doing a pay what you can. And so they are free to register. And then if you would like to donate to help us keep doing it, you are more than welcome to, but it is not required.
Okay, wonderful. I can let the directors know. Okay. So I know on, oh, I see the curriculum one right there you're talking about. Okay. I don't know if it was when I was signed, the email that came, I registered for the Eco Rise curriculum.
Yes, and so Christy, who's presenting on that, I will have her go ahead and give a little spiel about that when we all get back. And so she'll be able to give you some more information.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I'm not quite sure what this is connecting to. I think I got it either from the email confirmation about this. It told me I could go there to register, or it was something. So, oh, okay, we're about to leave.
We are about to leave. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just going to do a few announcements and then we'll be done. As soon as Christy's group gets back, I'm going to have her talk about the Eco Rise curriculum that we sent out in the last email this morning. But in the meantime, I'll put this, everyone will get an email on Monday that will have any resources that our presenters shared, links to their PowerPoints, as well as links to our recordings. And so we'll have the recordings up on YouTube. And so you'll get an email that has all of that information on Monday. It might be late in the day Monday, depending on how long YouTube takes to upload all of the videos, but definitely have a look out on that. Also in that email will be our upcoming workshops, but everything is listed on our events page on our website. And everything that's listed up on our events page, registration is open. So you can register for everything that's up here. We've got our monthly webinar series. Our next one next month is going to be Birdie in the Barrio, how to spark a love of birding in young minorities. And then we've got several that are up for that. Our upcoming teacher workshop series, our next one is going to be January 23rd. We're taking December off. I think everyone has a crazy December, and so we've decided to take December off. So our next one will be January 23rd. It'll be very similar to today's in that we'll have a main speaker at the beginning, and then we'll go into breakout rooms. And it'll be new presenters. And so if you signed up for this one, please feel free to sign up for the one on the 23rd. It'll be a different slate of presenters. It'll be different from today. And then on February 27th, we'll be doing a workshop on Texas-inspired curriculum. So if any of you have ever done anything from Project Wild or Project Wet, we're getting everyone together in one Zoom room to talk about their presentations. And so that'll be on February 27th. And then we have another one that hopefully will have a final date ready for Monday. So it'll be up and ready for registration on Monday, and that is going to be in March, and it's going to be on playground design and how to design your school grounds specifically to be more nature friendly. And so that is everything that we've coming up. Christy, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute if you don't mind. Stop my share here. Maybe here we go. If you want to talk about the curriculum that you sent out for anyone who wasn't in your workshop.
Absolutely. Hi, y'all. I'm Christy Hibbler-Luton, the program director for EcoRise. And so what we sent to you all for participating in this workshop today is our Sustainable Intelligence program. So that the enrollment link was sent out by Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. And so essentially what it is, we are an educational nonprofit. We've worked in Texas for many years. We started out of Austin, but we also exist in San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, the Rio Grande Valley, and we also have a rural initiative. And so essentially what we offer is we offer 3 different things. One is curriculum. So the particular curriculum that she gave you the enroll link to is K through 12 bilingual sustainability-based curriculum. So it is centered around 7 eco themes: water, waste, air, food, public spaces, transportation, and energy. And so in addition to these lessons, there are also lots of teacher resources. So we have our climate connections document. So if you are teaching about climate in the classroom, you will understand which lessons to use for those. We have our outdoor learning connections, which I highly recommend that you explore. And so those are a combination of lessons that use the outdoor space as a classroom. So really extending your classroom to the outdoor space, which is exactly what we are all talking about today. But also lessons that you can take and use the modifications that are mentioned in the document to actually modify a lesson to take it outside. And I think those are helpful to look at, especially if moving your lessons outside is something that's new for you. It gives you an opportunity to dip your toe in a little bit. And then the next thing that we provide, so we have lots of stuff around there, but we also provide teacher training and support. So things like this workshop today, and then our Student Innovation Fund. So what our Student Innovation Fund is, it is a pot of money where if students want to tackle a sustainability-based challenge on their campus, so we talked about improving outdoor spaces today and green spaces, the students will actually go through one of our eco audit processes, brainstorm and problem solve and use critical thinking strategies in order to figure out a solution. And the students write to us for the grant funds to implement that. So it is a student, it is not a teacher grant, it is a student written grant, and it's a learning experience. So it's something that's very digestible and easy to do for students. But yeah, please explore. If you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat window, but there's lots of resources for just really helping our students engage in their campuses and communities in a deep way.
Thank you, Christy. Before we head out, just a reminder, I'll be sending out resources. I'll also send out the contact information for all of our speakers. So please feel free to either contact myself or the speakers. My email is, I'll put it in the chat as well, is scoles@texaschildrenandnature.org. You probably all saw at least one email from me this week as we were getting ready. But I am really, thank you so much for everyone that joined us. If there's any final questions, we have a little bit of time. Otherwise, we are done and you're welcome to sign off.
Hello, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know that you said that we'll be giving credit for,
Yeah.
professional development. So does that come in the form of like an email, a certificate, or?
So yeah, definitely. I'll put the instructions in the email I send out on Monday, but if you could just, even if you want to, Susan, email me right now and let me know that you're going to need a certificate, I'll make a certificate and I'll email that to you.
I just wanted to let you know I would have came anyway.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yes, definitely we'll be providing a CPE credit, some 2 hours of CPE credit for today.
I agree. I'll be back for many more. The certificate is great, but I would have come anyway.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate all of you coming and making the time on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for hosting these.
Christy, Gabby, Sarah, thank you so much for presenting today. I really appreciate your time. And I hope your sessions went well.
Yeah, for sure. I attempted to record mine. So I'm like sure how to get that MP4, but if I get it, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Yeah, when you sign off, it'll probably start buffering the video for you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thanks so much. I'll see y'all later.
Sarah, I think the only thing I would have to say is I'm sad that I didn't get to join the other breakout sessions.
Well, and hopefully we'll have those recordings up on YouTube so you can watch them.
That's great. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Y'all have a wonderful weekend.